Welcome to the Santa Barbara CalSOAP Virtual College Fair. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Before we get started with our presentations, just a few quick housekeeping items to go over. The first is that attendees are welcome and certainly encouraged to ask questions to any of the panelists at any time utilizing the Q&A feature. You can pose your question to a specific panelist, or you can ask a general question to any and all of the panelists. Also, just a reminder that your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you. And about 1 week from today, a recording of this session will be available on that same registration website. Without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to our first panelist. And up first this evening, we're going to hear from Soka University of America.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy King. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions here at Soka University, which is in Orange County, California. Let me just pull up my screen real quick. So that's a picture of our university. Soka is, it's a mission-driven university. That mission is to foster a steady stream of global citizens committed to living a contributive life. A couple of things of note about Soka. We are located in Orange County, California, in the city of Aliso Viejo. So we're very close to Dana Point, Laguna Beach, Mission Viejo, Irvine area. We're kind of nestled in between. We are probably a little bit smaller than most of the schools on this panel today, about 450 students total. And one thing that is unique, at least 40% of our students are international, coming from over 40 different countries. Another thing that's really great about Soka, we are 100% residential campus. So you're guaranteed housing all 4 years while you're on campus. And the max you'll ever have is one roommate, and you share a bathroom with just one other person. Also, I'll talk a little bit more about our academics, which is kind of unique as well. And we do have athletics. We're part of the NAIA, and we do have a tremendous amount of merit-based and need-based financial aid. As I mentioned, we do offer a Bachelor of Liberal Arts, and we do have a really great general education program. But the thing that's kind of unique about it is that majority of the schools, in the United States, they teach from a Western perspective, but Soka tries to teach from both an Eastern and a Western perspective. Also, something that's really wonderful about our program is that in becoming a global citizen, we really believe it's important for every single student to really develop cultural appreciation and language acquisition. So every single student that does attend Soka will have the opportunity to study abroad for a full semester. And the great thing is you still graduate within 4 years, and it's already built in the cost of tuition. So it's not a separate cost to you or your family. And as I mentioned, you'll graduate within 4 years. As far as our academics, so as I mentioned, we have a bachelor's degree in liberal arts, but we have a focus on 5 different concentrations. So within each concentration, there's many different areas you can focus on. So say, for instance, you could focus on environmental studies and take courses such as ecology or environmental management and policy. Humanities is another concentration where you can focus on human history, music history, literature, philosophy. Life science is going to focus really on pre-health and pre-med. So especially if you want to go to medical school, it'll give you a direct pathway to that area. Also international studies and social and behavioral sciences. The nice thing is that you're actually able to take courses in every concentration. However, before your junior year, you actually have to declare which concentration you're focused on. So you can take enough upper division course in that area in order to graduate. I know one concern for students is always like, what's the viability of the education? Will I be able to go to graduate school? What about work and, employment opportunity? So Soka does a really good job in that area. We have a really strong track record as far as students go to some of the top grad schools around the country and even around the world. Also, we have a really great program with the Claremont colleges. It's an accelerated master's program and a master's in business administration, master's in education, as well as master's in international studies. And as far as employment, because we have such a small student body, we really encourage our students to go to the career development department to do internships. So they really take a hands-on approach. Also, as far as activities, because we're very close to the ocean and not too far from the mountain, there's a lot of different activities for students to participate in. Also, we have a program called Bridges to Business. And again, really encouraging students to do internships while they're at Soka. A lot of on-campus jobs. And then we have tons of campus clubs. So even though we only have 450 students, we have over 40 different campus clubs, ranging from community-based service clubs, cultural appreciation clubs, literary magazine, different things like student activities, environmental clubs. So a lot of different opportunities for students to participate in different activities. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we are part of the NAIA. So we do offer some athletic scholarship, but it won't be a full ride, like say if you went to Division I school. So we do have a women's and men's soccer, track and field, cross country, women's golf team, as well as swim. As far as our admissions deadline, we are an early action school. So that deadline is November 1st. Regular decision is January 15th. We are part of the Common App, as well as we do have our own Soka online application. Our application fee is $30. Basically, the requirements are, transcripts. If you are an international student that's studying in the United States and you've only been here 2 years or less, we do require an English proficiency test. And then we also require 2 academic recommendations, 2 essays, and then a list of extracurricular activities. We are test optional, so we don't require you to submit any test score. As far as financial aid, so the total cost of attendance is about $45,000 a year. So $32,000 for tuition, $13,000 for room and board. So the room and board, we don't have a meal plan, like all meals are included. So 3 meals every single day. You could take it to go as well, and then 2 on the weekend. So you don't have to worry about that. As far as our scholarships, so we do offer merit-based scholarships, basically anywhere between $5,000 to a full ride. We also have a great program called the Soka Opportunity Grant, and that is based on family income. So say, for instance, if you get admitted to Soka, if your family income is $60,000 or under, we will cover 100% of your tuition portion. If your family makes more, we just adjust that, we kind of prorate that. We also, as I mentioned, have athletic scholarships. We do offer, Soka loans. And then, of course, we accept, Pell Grant and Cal Grant as well. And that's our admissions team. And I'll actually type in my information. So if you have more questions, you can contact me that way. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Soka. Just a reminder to any attendees who recently joined us, please do feel free to send through any questions you have for any of the panelists at any time through the Q&A feature. But up next, we're going to move to San Francisco State University.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mayra Escobar, and I am the associate. Let me make sure that I have that right. I am the Associate Director for Undergraduate Recruitment with San Francisco State University. And today I'm here to tell you a little bit about the campus. I'm hoping you're seeing the right screen there. So San Francisco State University is located in the heart of the city of San Francisco. We offer a number of student organizations for our students to get involved and really get a full undergraduate experience with over 200 student organizations. We also have about 29 Greek organizations, and we do offer a variety of athletics. We are NCAA Division II for men and women. For those students who do not want to participate in the main core of athletics, we also offer a number of intramural and club sports for you to join in. We also offer a variety of campus and student resources to ensure that our students are supported across the system, across the campus, and ensuring that you are going to get all of the assistance that you need to be successful. We offer support programs in the form of tutoring, academics, social, counseling, and much more to ensure that you will have everything that you need. We also have a very good study abroad program, but one of the centers that I do want to focus on is the Career Services and Leadership Department, which offers our Internship and Career Center, in which prepares students to test drive the career that they might want to go into. It also prepares them with resume building, interview skills, and so much more. But that is just one of the many resources that we have available at San Francisco State. We are divided into 7 colleges. These are the colleges that house all of our undergraduate majors. We have over 70 individual majors, but every single one of our majors offer different concentrations or areas that you can concentrate on depending on what you want to do with that degree. That gives students over 100 possible areas in which they can go and emphasize in their specific academic career. For those students who are first-time freshmen, or coming out of high school, we are looking at a specific requirements. So as you are going to hear multiple times today, we are going to be looking at the A through G subject areas, or the A through G requirements. And we are looking at a specific year completion. So please pay attention to those. We are looking at a GPA of 2.5 or higher for California residents, 3.0 for non-California residents. If your GPA is below at 2.5, so 2.0 to 2.49, we will be looking at supplemental information included on the application to make a decision. As of right now, we are not going to be looking at SATs or ACTs for admission purposes, but we can use those for the placement examination. And we are going to be looking at high school graduation, absolutely. A little bit about our majors. I mentioned that we have over 70, but within those 70s, we have what we call our popular majors, which are basically the majors that students migrate to because they're very popular. And then we have our impacted majors. Our impacted majors are the ones that are hard to get into because there is not enough space for all of the applicants that we receive. So academics on these specific majors may be higher, and some of those departments might require a supplemental application or additional information to decide on admissions. As a transfer student, there are two ways that you can get admitted. One of the ways is as a lower division transfer with less than 60 transferable units. You need to be eligible at the high school level and meet the requirements as a transfer student as well. The second option is as an upper division transfer, in which we will not be looking at high school eligibility, but you need to have 60 or more transferable semester units and still meet the requirements as a transfer student. We do offer financial aid in the form of grant, scholarships, work study, and loans. We do encourage students to submit their FAFSA or DREAM Act application by the deadline of March 2nd. And then we do offer over 700 additional institutional and private scholarships that students can take advantage of. We do offer housing on a first come, first served basis for students who are interested in living on campus. We encourage students to submit that application as soon as possible, the moment that they accept their offer of admission, to ensure that we can guarantee their housing before it runs out. I do have a few important dates that I want you to keep an eye on. October 1st is when the Cal State Apply site opens. It is also when you can start submitting your FAFSA or DREAM Act application. March 1st is your housing application opening date. And then, of course, March 2nd is the priority deadline for the FAFSA or DREAM Act application. We highly encourage students to submit the application for orientation, as that is how they will be meeting with their major advisors and signing up for classes. And, you know, of course, there are other post-admission deadlines that I want them to be aware of. If you have any questions, here's my email address. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, San Francisco State. Up next, we're going to hear from Humboldt State University.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming from. And thank you so much for joining us. All right. So in the chat box, I'm going to go ahead and put my information. It is going to be the link that helps me gather more information about you, as well as my contact information. But we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Jennifer. I am an admissions counselor and transfer specialist for Humboldt State University. And so we are considered the most northern Pacific school in the state of California. We are a part of the CSUs, and we are considered a small size campus. So 6,700 undergraduates, the rest of that makes up our graduate level program. We get students from in-state, out of state, and internationally. So we have a fantastic mix of numerous different types of people from all walks of life. Our classroom sizes are very small, and of course our majors are broken up into 3 academic areas. The first one is where you would find education and liberal studies. This also includes majors similar to business, child development, Traditional majors like economics, political science, mathematics, philosophy, criminology. Kinesiology, we have both the bachelor's and the master's for those that want to go into physical therapy or PE. And we also have psychology, both the bachelor's and the master's. Both are considered non-impacted for those that want to go into research therapy or counseling. Our second college that houses our majors is wildlife. Our ag is called Rangeland Resources. We also have Wildland Resources. At Humboldt, we also have oceanography, microbiology, marine biology, and zoology, forestry, fishery, fire science, fire tech, traditional types of sciences like biology, chemistry, pre-med, pre-pharmacy, physics, geology, as well as recreation administration and environmental resource engineering for those that want to learn how to build it and not have to rebuild it again in 20 years. Our third college is the one that's the most creative, in my opinion. It's humanities and social sciences, and it's the College of Art. So that includes theater arts, anthropology, archaeology, those that want to dig, and we have all of our dig sites in our own backyard. Traditional drawing and painting, art, dance, metalwork, and jewelry design. Other majors include English, communications, mass communication, journalism, and film, geography, as well as geology. Music for education, as well as regular music and for instrumental. And we have our own marching squad called the Marching Jacks. We have a variety of different housing available for incoming freshmen, transfer students, as well as non-traditional students. Everything from a traditional on-campus housing to apartments on campus. We admit students in 3 different ways. You can either be a first-time freshman, so being eligible with the high school A through G right out of high school. If you're wanting to spend a year at a community college or just have less than 60 units, it's just making sure that you complete at least English and mathematics in that first year, and you have less than 60 units. If you're still eligible as a first-time freshman, you can come to us, or you can come to us as an upper division transfer, which means that you would apply to us when you have around 40 to 45 units. And then by the time you arrive to us, you would have 60. And our only majors that are currently impacted at both the incoming freshman level and the transfer level will be wildlife. And then of course, we are starting the second year of our RN to BSN program. This is how you can stay connected with us. A lot of students take pictures of this, and we have a variety of different student-run social media, but feel free to sit back and relax. I have a short video for you. Fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see your application soon for Humboldt State University because we are still accepting through summer. So Christopher, back to you.
Thank you very much, Humboldt State. Just a reminder to our attendees, if any questions come up during any of the presentations, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A. But up next, we're going to move to California Lutheran University.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Diana Hernandez. I am an admission counselor here at California Lutheran University. We are located in Thousand Oaks, California, which is right between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. We're about an hour inland, so an hour away from the beach or so. And I'm happy to share a little bit about Cal Lutheran. I'm a proud Cal Lutheran alum, and so if you have any questions about that, I'll definitely be happy to answer and give you my perspective, as well as some of the stories that our students have shared. So I'll drop my contact information in the chat. Please feel free to reach out at any point. And so as we look a little bit about Cal Lutheran, or we learn a little bit about Cal Lutheran, we'll start by looking at the numbers. So we have just over 3,000 undergraduate students with an average class size of 17 and a 15:1 faculty to student ratio. So this is definitely a place where professors will get to know you. They will get to know your interests, where you're coming from, what do you want to do with your career, and most importantly, really serve as mentors. I'm still in touch with a lot of my professors, and it's great to now be able to call them colleagues and be able to partner with them in sharing a little bit about the different programs that we have on our campus. As a student, they all knew my name. They all knew if I was in class or not. So if for some reason I wasn't in class and I forgot to send an email, and then they saw me walking across campus, they would be like, "Hey, Deanna, we missed you in class. Like, hope everything's okay." Or maybe they'd send an email. And so this is something that really I encourage all of our students to take advantage of. They have those open office hours. Most of the time, they're just dying for students to come in to chat with them. It could be about class, or it could just be about the program or career that they're interested in. We are California Lutheran University. We do have a religious affiliation. There is no hiding that, but it's actually something we're really proud of. So you'll see that we do have 39 different faiths represented on our campus, as well as students, faculty, and staff that have no religious affiliation, and they love Cal Lutheran just the same. We feel like religion is a get to, not a have to. So really, if you want to explore your faith or learn more about another person's faith, you have that option, but it's not something that is forced upon you. Cal Lutheran is about to be a Hispanic serving institution, a designation that we gained in 2016 that really allows it to be pushes forward in anti-racist movements and policies that we're creating on our campus, and really making sure that we're servicing all of our students, whether they be Latinx, Black, Indigenous, women in STEM, first generation in their family to attend college, really all of these populations that we want to make sure that are successful and that they're enjoying their time on our campus. Now we do have, in terms of so in terms of different study abroad opportunities, so we do have 42 majors, 42 minors on our campus, really lots of amazing opportunities for you to combine those areas, however it is that you want to combine them. But really something that's key in all of our majors is that experiential learning piece. So study abroad, research, and internships are just three ways that I'll highlight today. Study abroad programs that could literally take you around the world. There are programs that would actually cost less for you to do than for you to be a full-time student living on campus. So really amazing opportunities. And then while you're studying abroad, you can be part of research, you can be doing internships. So then on your resume, when you're applying for a job or graduate school, you'll be able to list that you've had this international experience, whether it be research or internships. And that definitely looks amazing for our students. The internships that we have locally, we have some with big name companies such as NBC, Disney, CBS, Amgen, but we also do have local mom and pop shops as well. And so whatever it is that you're interested in, chances are we do have a partnership established. And then research, all of our professors are still active in the field. So a lot of them are doing research on campus. And that is something that our students are able to help participate with. All of our majors have that opportunity to research, so it's much more than just the chemistry, biochemistry that you would typically think about. We have our students in theater arts and mathematics doing research, and there's paid internship opportunities too, so you would actually get paid to be doing this research on our campus. Now, living on campus is something that's important for us to chat about a little bit, and so we do have some of the nicest residence halls in California. There is no communal restroom that you go down the hall and share with everyone on your floor or anything like that. We do have Jamba Juice, Starbucks, Ullman Commons, that you'll see pictured at the bottom right, as well as the Habit on our campus. That is where our students are able to use their meal plan. We also do have free parking, free wireless internet all around campus. And then we also, of course, do have free laundry. That's actually one of our newer things. It was led by his current student that wanted to see that change. And so if you want to be part of a campus where you're able to change policies and create different opportunities for yourself as a student and for other students to follow, this is definitely a place where you'll be able to do that. In terms of what's required for you to apply, we do have the Common Application. We are Common App exclusive. And so if you have any questions on that, definitely let me know. I do a lot of Common Application workshops, so I'm happy to help. And then we will require your official high school transcripts and an academic letter of recommendation. This letter of recommendation does need to be from a teacher or a counselor. Cal Lutheran is test optional, so if you have those test scores and you want to send them to us, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. Your application will be weighed exactly the same. We do have two deadlines. The first is November 1st and the second is January 1st. For either one of those two deadlines, you will automatically be considered for academic scholarships and go up to $25,000. And if you apply by November 1st, you will also be considered for a presidential scholarship that goes up to full tuition. You'll see pictured down at the bottom, we do have our cost of attendance. That is our sticker price, but there is a lot of financial aid that you may be eligible to receive. And so definitely don't let the sticker price scare you away from applying. There's a lot of really great opportunities. So this is our contact information for our general admissions line. Like I said, I'll also be putting my direct contact information on there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, but thank you all for being here today. Christopher, we'll pass it back to you.
Thank you very much, Cal Lutheran. And our final presentation this evening comes from the University of Alaska, Anchorage.
Hello, everybody. Just 1 second as I share my screen. All right. Hello, my name is Fernando. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment at University of Alaska, Anchorage. And so I'll present just a quick little bit about us. First, I think it's always important to talk a little bit about our location. Anchorage is the largest city in the state of Alaska. We have approximately 300,000 people, so it's fairly sizable. We like to call it kind of a little bit of urban wild, so to speak, because you do have the urban amenities of a fairly sizable city, while also having very easy access to a lot of the more wild elements of Alaska. Even if I just go back very quickly to the last picture, this is our campus. You can see the mountains literally right there. So it is definitely kind of the best of both worlds in that sense. We have nearly 12,000 students on campus. We offer truly at every level of education for students, whether that be, going for a certificate program, an associate's degree, a bachelor's, all the way to a, PhD, or other terminal degrees. So students do have quite a lot of options when it comes to studying with us. We have a 16:1 student-faculty ratio, so surprisingly small class sizes for a school of our size, and especially one that I like to highlight would be the ranked number one return on long-term investment among our peer institutions by the Center on Education and the Workforce. Our students are finding very good returns on their investment with us, getting jobs right after graduation and going on to do what they're hoping to do with their degree. Here's just a general slide that has a lot of information about our select resources on campus. I'll just highlight a couple. I obviously don't have time to go over all of them, but some that I really love highlighting. Places like the Learning Commons, where all students are able to receive free tutoring just about at any time throughout the day. They're also now doing virtual tutoring, even as we transition to being back in person this fall. They're still maintaining a lot of that availability, both in person and virtual. Military and Veteran Student Services, we have a very large military student presence on a campus. About 17% of our population is either active duty, reserves, or a dependent or other close family member. So that is a very sizable contingent of our population. And we actually were recently ranked or given the Bronze Award for our service to our service members here in the US. Along with that, some other things that I'll mention for other select student organizations, we do have a Greek life on campus, so it is fairly active and a great way to just kind of meet others on campus, and a few other, cultural or affinity groups, things like Black Student Union, Latino Student Union, and the Native Student Council, which are really able to represent various cultures that we have represented here on campus, as well as our US UAA, or student government, where students can also have their voice heard whenever it comes to really anything, and really try to affect change upon their campus, upon their home, which I think is a very valuable part of being a student. This one just kind of shows some general academic areas of interest. The really big ones are like the first ones. Business is probably our biggest major. Engineering is also one of the really popular ones. And that does have a really great track record of success. I know this past year we had over 98% of our students in engineering major find jobs right after graduation within 5 months. So we really are having a great record of success when it comes to those students. And also programs like our health science and professions. So if you're looking to get into health, whether eventually to become a doctor, or whether to become a nurse, or anything in between, I believe our students have really great access to those professions, especially because we are right across the street from a hospital. So you have really great access to a lot of, whether it be internship opportunities, research opportunities. Being right there really helps you quite a bit whenever it comes to those sorts of things. Next, just briefly touching on cost and affordability. All students from the state of California, or really from the Western US, qualify for WUI tuition. So that would be about $9,900, so just under $10,000 in terms of tuition. I think we kind of overestimate on books and supplies. You'd likely won't be paying that much for books and supplies, so I'd rather overestimate than underestimate. And then room and board is about another $12,600. So we tend to be actually fairly in line with even some in-state schools, and be fairly competitive whenever it comes to those schools as well. There's no additional requirement that you have to fulfill to qualify for WUI. Everyone from those states qualifies for WUI, and there are actually some ways that you may qualify for actual resident tuition as well, through programs like Come Home to Alaska, or if your family is related to the military, like if you are military dependent or in the reserves or active duty, you also get in-state tuition for those instances. We also have great ways for you to experience not just Alaska, but then also really the world. We do have fantastic study abroad opportunities that take you all throughout the world, as well as semester away with National Student Exchange, where you're actually able to spend a semester at just a lot of different institutions throughout the US and the territories of the US. Just kind of continuing along with your regular progress, but also getting to experience the different cultures of a different part of the United States. It's also a really great way if you're interested in like a study in a graduate program to kind of test out their campus. And finally, on campus living, we have really great suite style residence halls where you get your own room. You don't have to share it with anybody else. You do share the living area though. But that's really about it for UAA. Certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And with that, I guess I will toss it back to Christopher for, I guess, final things.
Thank you very much, University of Alaska Anchorage. We do have some time remaining, and so for the sake of students who were not able to join us and those here with us, perhaps we can do a round or two of questions ourselves. So if I could ask all of our panelists to turn your videos back on, and the first question I'd pose to you is, 6 minutes is not very long, so what's one thing you did not have time to include in your presentation that you'd like to cover now? Perhaps your favorite event or tradition on campus, a fun fact about your school, or anything else. So why don't we just go in that same order? So Soka, can you lead it off?
Sure. Thank you so much, Christopher. I think one thing I wasn't really able to express too in depth is really how close the students get. Our average classroom size is 12 students. So because we're students from around the world, they really get to know about each other's traditions and, way of life, which really, I think, builds for a rich kind of learning environment. And I think because the students become so close, one tradition that I really love about Soka is the fact that the students really like to celebrate each other's, lives and just, who they are. So they actually throw what they call surprise birthday parties. So if they learn that your birthday falls within the school year, many times I'll actually put on a little production for those students to really celebrate, their life and everything, which is really neat. Another really quick tradition that I love about Soka is that each senior has to do what they call a senior capstone. So during that time, a lot of the alumni will actually come back on campus like 2 weeks before their capstone is actually due, to help them edit and give them, feedback and things like that. And I know like the seniors, they really appreciate that kind of support. And I think you find that a lot at Soka. So those are some of the, kind of neat traditions I like about Soka.
Great, thank you. San Francisco State.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, San Francisco is located in the city of San Francisco, and we are very close to downtown. So one of the traditions that I really like about the campus is that we actually host our graduation at AT&T Park. So for those of you who are baseball fans, that is where our Giants play. So that is our baseball team. So that is pretty exciting. I myself, I am a baseball fan, and I love that we have that connection with the city itself. So that is one of the things. Another one that I will just toss in there very quickly is that our campus is the only university that actually has an ethnic studies college and not just a program. So we do pride ourselves in social justice, and that college was built and requested and built by students. So it's a big pride of the campus as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Humboldt.
So Humboldt really believes in hands-on and face-to-face learning. And so during this time, we have had students on campus, and we will be pretty much offering 60% of our classes face-to-face, still staying 40% online for those that need flexibility. But if you're looking for a campus that 50% of all of your classes are outdoors, then we'd love to see you apply.
Great, thank you. Cal Lutheran.
Yeah, something I didn't dive too deep into is our community and our students here on campus. And so we have, like many of the other institutions that I'm sure are here, lots of different clubs and organizations, that there's so many ways to get involved. But one of my favorite traditions is that at the beginning of every single semester, we have an involvement fair. And so every single club will be out, and they will have like games to try to lure students in to come and talk to them, or like free candy, or a competition going on of some sorts, music. And so what I always recommend for new students to do is just go and block yourself out for an hour and a half, and just go talk to every booth that you think you might be interested in. You're going to end up with lots of free candy, and that's completely okay. And you really start making friends that way. And so that's one of my favorite traditions. But really, the community that we have on our campus is great. And I would say most of our really large events are actually put on by our students for our students. So one of those is, for example, our Hawaii Clubs puts on an annual luau for the entire campus. And that is one of my favorite events to go to. And so lots of really great ways to get involved.
Great, thank you. University of Alaska, Anchorage.
Right. Yeah, I think I would also like to highlight the way in which professors at UAA really do value that hands-on learning, especially when it comes to many of the natural sciences. You hear that, everybody has to take like a biology course or something at some point during their career in college. But getting to actually, see it in action, actually going on some field work with a professor, as opposed to just simply sitting in the classroom and reading about it, I think that's really does have a very impactful like residence within each and every single one of our students who goes through those things. And I guess one final thing that I briefly forgot to mention is also that the climate is actually much warmer than you might imagine. Most people think Alaska's, super frozen or anything, but really in the winter it only gets to about the 20s. So still cold, or at least here in Anchorage, well, I guess about that temperature. So still cold, but very manageable, I would say. And the summers, especially right now, is wonderful 70s degrees all the time. So
thank you. And the last question would be, what's one piece of advice you have for someone going through the college search process? So why don't we go in that same order?
Actually, if it's okay, I'd just like to share maybe two things. One is definitely find like a support system while you're on campus. Really find out what kind of academic resources are available. Like, also like mental health is a big thing, when you go to college. It's a big transition going from high school, especially like if you're the first one in your family to go and stuff. It's like try to find as much support as you can. And the other thing I would say, honestly, don't compare yourself to others. I think it's so easy to fall into that trap of like comparing yourself to your classmates or other people, thinking like, I'm not worthy of being here, and you are. And I think there's a reason why you're going to college, and just really try to cherish that journey as much as possible, because it's about developing yourself. So I think those would be like the two things I would offer those events.
I agree with everything you said. But what I would like to tell students is to really, really take the time to explore, research the campuses and research the programs that they are interested in. Not to get too hung up on the title of the degree, but really what the skills that they are learning with that degree. There are a lot of majors that are impacted, and students oftentimes get discouraged because the academics to go into those impacted majors are super high, and they think that they will not be able to get to the career of their choice. But there are so many other majors that may not have the title that they are looking for, but they will still prepare them to go into that career, and they are just as valid. So please do not get hang up on the title of that degree. Do your research. Choose the major that will make you happy and that will really get you to where you want to be.
One key term that I always go for is how you start is never a determining factor about how you're going to finish. So be open-minded, to kind of piggyback on what my colleague from San Francisco added. In addition to that, I would definitely say that education is very much a family decision. And so discussing it with those that are mentoring you in your own home, in your own circle, whether you have a religious organization or mentors within your school, allow them to breathe some knowledge into you as a part of this educational decision. And when you're choosing between multiple schools, an Excel sheet and your wants and desires in a university will then help you deduce down to maybe your top 3 or top 4 schools that you're then slowly starting to have more conversations with those mentors and those people around you that are your cheerleaders cheering you on as you're discovering what new things at each university.
I'm going to just say everything that they did, like, I don't feel like it's like, which one should I do? You should do all of these things. And I'll add one right now when you're in high school or you're going through the application process, and one quick one when you're already at any one of the amazing, there's so many of us, and no matter where you go, like, you're going to be okay. So wherever you end up, right now when you're in high school, I'm a first generation college student, so this was very overwhelming for me. And what I wish somebody would have told me is the magic of an Excel list. Just writing down the school and making sure you list your deadlines. And okay, so University of Alaska Anchorage, do they require Common App or is it their own app? When is their deadline? Is it a letter of recommendation? Okay, great, now I know what they need. But what about Humboldt State? Do they require? So you're able to really compare and work smarter, not harder. That way you can ask a teacher, hey, I'm applying to these 6 schools and they all require a letter of recommendation. Can you send it to them? And so that way, you know exactly how many schools will require what and are really able to keep up on your deadlines and just highlight as you go. That will definitely, I think, will save some headaches. And then once you're on campus, wherever you go, it's okay to ask for help. I think that is so hard I'll just speak for myself. It was really hard for me to ask for help. Chances are you're going to fail an exam. Like, college is the learning curve and classes are supposed to be more challenging and you're supposed to explore a different way of thinking. And so you may fail and that's okay. The piece where you're going to learn and really grow is when you then go to your professor and say, hey, I studied, or I think I studied, like, where am I going wrong? Like, can you help me out here? And at least from what my colleagues shared, every single professor at any one of our institutions will be more than happy to help. And I'm sure it's going to be that case wherever you end up.
Yeah, just briefly, I'll say my piece of advice would be just to consider all the colleges out there, really, whether they be, small, big, private, public, in-state, out-of-state. Obviously, I'm partial to, out-of-state, particularly in Alaska, but but really, when it comes down to it, do some research and pick out what's best for you in your particular situation. That would really just be what I would say.
Somebody had told me that Anchorage weather was mild when I was going through the college search process. I might have replied as well. Thank you again to all of our presenters for your great overviews and your additional insights. To all of our attendees out here, I think all of these wonderful people would love to continue the conversations with you. So please do reach out to them, probe more about the schools, about fit, etc. But please don't hesitate to continue these conversations. This does bring us to the end of this session. So certainly to all of our attendees, we also want to thank you for taking some time to join us this evening. I hope you learned a little bit about these schools and the college search process. Before we do end this session, just a few quick housekeeping items. First is that when you close this window, you receive a very quick 4-question survey that we ask that you complete. And again, about 1 week from today, a recording of this session will be available on that same registration website. But that's it for us this evening. Have a great night. Good luck and enjoy the college search process.
Everyone.